Hey, it's ShadowACS again. Do I even need to say anything? I mean, Bodacious Space Pirates. Does the title of this show even sound like it's trying? But okay, as fucking terrible a title as that is, at least it gives you some idea of what you're going to see, right? Something crazy, over the top, and wild, maybe with a lot of insane action and fan service, sort of like Kill la Kill. Bottom line, the best I was expecting to come out of this show was something entertainingly stupid. Which isn't a high bar, but it's better than nothing. Well, long story short, it's not. It's really not. This is Bodacious Space Pirates. Really? That's the title you went with? The truth is, when I first started watching Bodacious Space Pirates, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I didn't like it that much, but it just seemed like a typical harmless sci-fi anime, nothing much to it. But then, the more I started watching it, the more I started to really fucking hate this anime. Like, a lot. And not for the reasons you would think. It's not that it's too over the top or too goofy or too stupid. Well, yeah, it is stupid, but that's beside the point. The main problem with Bodacious Space Pirates is that it's boring. So goddamn boring. This show has some of the worst setups and dullest ideas for story arcs I've ever seen. There's little to no action, no sense of adventure, no fun characters. It's like you're watching paint dry for 26 episodes. And that's another thing, couldn't this anime have been shorter? I mean, I've reviewed really bad anime before this, but they're usually only 12 or 13 episodes. This is twice that long. That's half a day of my life spent watching this shit I'm never going to get back. Let's just talk about the plot. The truth is, the very basic premise of this show isn't actually all that bad. Bodacious Space Pirates takes place in the future and stars a girl in high school named Marika Kato. One day, she discovers that if she wants to, she can become the captain of a space pirate ship. Why? Because it turns out her mother used to be a space pirate captain, and wants to leave her ship to her. Eventually, Marika agrees to take the job, and the rest of the show is about the, quote, adventures she goes on as a space pirate captain. So, yeah, this honestly sounds like about as typical a premise as you would expect for an anime about space pirates. What's actually wrong with it? Well, I think the first time I really got angry with this anime is when they first explained how pirating works in this show's world. And for the following explanation, I strongly suggest keeping something nearby you can punch really hard. Are you ready? Okay. Pirates in this show's world aren't even really pirates at all. Instead, they're more like stage performers. They're actually paid by the ships they hijack to put on a big show for them and pretend to act all mean and threatening. They take the passengers' valuables, the government subsidizes them for it later, and then they leave to thunderous applause. There's no sense of adventure, no actual danger or stakes involved, just a bunch of people playing at being pirates and having a good time. Fuck you. This has got to be the worst possible idea anyone could have ever thought up for a pirate anime. Hell, I hesitate to even call it a pirate anime. It'd be one thing if the show just called itself Schoolgirl Pirate Theater Troupe, but no, it's called Bodacious Space Pirates. And even in the beginning, when they're training and telling Marika about this, they act like this is serious shit she's doing, like she's gonna be in real danger. So it's like the show lies to itself as well as its audience. I don't care if they invent some big elaborate backstory about how the government legalized piracy years ago because they helped them with the war. We want to see actual fucking pirates going on pirate adventures in a pirate anime. Not whatever the hell this abomination is. So, okay, if they're not doing any real pirate stuff in this show, that begs the question, what does actually happen in this anime? Well, the short answer is pretty much nothing. Like, here's just a couple examples of some of the brilliant ideas they had for plot points for this show. Marika invites her friends over for dinner, but one of them ate some food that was too spicy for her. But she drank a glass of water, so it's all okay now. Afterward, they decide they all want to go to the zoo. Hey look, now Marika's friend is visiting the cafe where she works. She ordered a parfait, and it tasted good. There's even a story arc where Marika and her classmates have to try to win a space boat race. But this mean old lady in charge of everything doesn't want them to win. So she tries to rig the race against them, but through hard work and determination, our heroes can do their best to, Anime, what the fuck are you doing? Seriously, you're called Bodacious Space Pirates! You can fucking do better than this! Okay, I know it's a really common thing in anime like Shakugan no Shana to have downtime in between the story arcs where you can watch the characters take a breather and just have fun for a while. But the key phrase there is downtime in between the story arcs. Here it feels like 60 to 70% of the goddamn show is nothing but this bullshit. And even when the actual pirate stuff does happen, you don't care, because there's rarely any stakes involved or any reason to be invested. Like, there's a major story arc that goes on for a long time about Marika and her crew helping this princess find a ghost ship that once belonged to her people. Almost like, gasp, a treasure hunt. You know, like actual fucking pirates. But here's the problem. I don't give a shit whether they find this ghost ship or not. The story gives us no reason to care because there's no stakes involved for Marika and her crew if they don't find it. And all it's leading up to is this lame plot twist which wasn't set up at all previously, so it's not even really a twist. And it affects nothing in the story afterwards, so it's like the whole thing never happened. Now, in this show's very little defense, I do think maybe it was intended to be a shoujo anime aimed at 10-year-old girls who want to pretend to be space pirates. You know, like something to have on in the background of your kid's birthday party as opposed to an anime you want to watch all the way to the end. But that's not much of an excuse. Hell, even Sailor Moon had villains the characters had to fight and actual stakes involved in each episode. Yeah, that's how low we've fallen, people. This show is so bad, it actually has me complimenting the plot to Sailor Moon. That's a fucking accomplishment. The only story arc that kind of almost works is the very last one, where this villainous character shows up in an incredibly powerful spaceship and starts using it to pick off pirate ships. So all the pirates have to band together to try and stop them. See, this is a little more like what I'm talking about. You have characters with a real motivation you want to get behind, an actual legitimate threat, events that lead into one another instead of just happening for no reason. This is what you call storytelling. You know, what the show should have been doing for the previous 20 goddamn episodes. So, okay, if the show wants to be more of a slice of lifestyle anime, fine. Here's the problem with that. The characters are also awful. As far as I'm concerned, the only one who gets a pass as being okay is Marika. Because, well, she has a surprising amount of personality for a main character. She's an optimistic, happy-go-lucky teenage girl. It's not much, but it's more personality than a lot of main characters get. There's also a girl she meets early on in the show who has a soon-to-day-ish personality, I guess, who's passable. But the problem is what should be the best part of the show, Marika's crew. They're not interesting characters. Think about all these other sci-fi shows that have crews aboard a spaceship, like Firefly and Star Trek. The crew members are always the most vibrant, colorful, interesting, and fun-to-watch characters. But here, most of the crew members have no personality. Now, they're all designed like they should have personality. Like, you look at this girl and you go, oh, that's the nerdy tech girl. Oh, this is the wisecracking goofball, and so on. But none of them are really given any dialogue to develop these personalities. They just sort of say whatever they have to do to move the scene forward, and that's it. Even this big, badass-looking cyborg, the coolest thing they ever have him do is push open a door. That's a special kind of pathetic. Speaking of the dialogue, that's another problem with this show. There is way too much boring techno-babble in it. Now, on a certain level, I do appreciate the attempt to make the technology in this world seem a little more realistic. Like, there's some discussion about how the radar works and can be used to see other ships, they call faster-than-light jumps FTL jumps for short, and so on. But I also think it's part of the reason why the characters come off as so weak. Instead of seeing them interact and develop as people, a lot of the time we're just listening to this bullshit.
Every single one of these attacks are one-way communications to the D-block docking port. All power is being routed to the electronic warfare system.
What is a non-aggression pact?
It simply states that interfering with Marika Kato is forbidden in New Oklahoma City. However, this truce will only extend into the letter of Mark's renewal date.
Shut up! Seriously, this all sounds like stuff I would find in the instruction manual for a blender I just bought, not the dialogue for a fucking anime. And there is so much of it in this show. It's in like every goddamn scene. No wonder the characters aren't interesting. So that was Bodacious Space Pirates. Oh, I'm sorry. If that was as stupid as it felt, please never let me do that voice again. This show is awful. I know people that like this anime, and if you do, that's great, enjoy what you enjoy, but man, I just hated it. I've never seen a show that seems to go so far out of its way to not be entertaining. The setups are just so bad, and the dialogue is just so lame. I guess if you're just dying to see an anime about space pirates that aren't actually space pirates doing things that barely involve any action scenes, or adventures, or villains, or any storytelling whatsoever, then this is the anime for you. And honestly, I think I'd have hated it a lot less if it was half as long as it was, but 26 episodes? Really? I'm done. Thanks a lot, anime. You ruined Space Pirates for me. Now I'm never gonna play Metroid again. This is ShadowACS, and I'll see you next time.